A note of warning. This podcast explores graphic and disturbing stories and includes strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing.
Stephanie, tell us about your visit to Spahn Ranch. And am I saying that right, Billy? It's a Spahn Ranch,
Spahn
right?
Ranch, yes.
He's a bit of an expert on the thing. You came out here specifically to visit that location?
I was getting B-roll for a couple videos that I'm planning on doing in the future. You know, I had to go to the Cecil Hotel, of course, things like that. But months ago, I did a 6-part video series on Charles Manson. Every month, I do a cult series and a serial killer series. So pick a different cult or a different serial killer. And I mean, we kind of got both here. Mm-hmm. But what I found was there was obviously so much more to the case than you would normally see if you're watching a YouTube video or even listening to a podcast. So I wanted to make a video where anybody who wanted to know about the case really didn't feel like they would leave the video and think, I have to go look this up or I have to find out what happened to this person.
Cover everything.
So you did a deep dive.
So it was six like over hour-long videos. And, you know, that became obviously a thing for me where I just kind of had to know everything about it. And so when we came to California, I couldn't pass up going to Spahn Ranch, even though that was more of a hike than I wanted. And we went to the Museum of Death because they have a whole Manson room there.
Ask if you went to the Museum of Death.
Cielo Drive House, you know, things like that we wanted to check out.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So as far as the locations, you've got. Did you go to the El Coyote? Mm-mm. So the El Coyote is where the Sharon Tate party had their last meal. Mm-hmm.
Not too far away from Cielo.
It's still a restaurant.
Right down the hill.
Sort of, yeah, I guess.
El Coyote, which one?
No, no. You know, El Coyote is kind of like it's right near. It's on Beverly. It's by the new Beverly
you know
Theater.
what? I'm thinking of the one. I'm thinking of a similar one on Ventura. You're right.
Yes.
So it's still a little ways away.
The one on Ventura is the other one so in the Tarantino movie, they are showing their fictional characters.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the one on Ventura.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
That actually Quentin likes to go to, and then you know they're kind of you know showing them juxtaposed because they're both having margaritas or whatever and at the same time kind of thing, or at Mexican food restaurants, and you know I mean that was one of the first month I was here. I went to a dinner party and I was like I got the address and it said Waverly and I was like how do I know this? How do I know this? And then I'm like driving past the house where the LaBiancas were killed and you know I think that. One of the great things about the Tarantino movie is I love the fact that Manson's in it for a second. I love but even more importantly is that he made people fall in love with Sharon Tate as a person, as opposed to a victim. And you know, I wish I could do that with every one of the stories that we do. Yeah, but you can go see. I mean, you can even go see. I don't know how long you're here for, but you can still. I think they might still be playing. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the New Beverly, which is
because I haven't seen it yet.
Which is Tarantino's
right, that's his place.
And they actually sell Spahn Ranch shirts there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we went out there. It was like there was nobody, you know, there. Like nobody that I could see nobody anywhere. And we wanted to go to the house. Remember the house that they stayed at before? It was kind of like a flop house, and now, you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like dilapidated. The bottom floor had like sand and dirt in it, and they stayed there with a bunch of other people, but then they had to end up leaving. And it was in
LA here? It was all the way out there?
I think it was in Topanga Canyon.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I forget what the house was called, but I kind of looked for it and we couldn't find it, so it's probably not there anymore.
You could also look for the house when they were basically squatting at Dennis Wilson's house. And Dennis Wilson
I feel
just
so bad
moved,
for Dennis Wilson.
You know,
he was like, "I'm getting my own apartment. You guys stay here."
You guys stay
so
here.
I haven't seen the movie either. Is he featured in that?
Dennis Wilson.
I actually didn't find out about that until decades later.
He's not. No.
About his association with Charles Manson whatsoever, as they've done deep dives over the years, about his aspiring music career and that kind of thing.
I mean, the thing about Manson that obviously I hate him for a million different reasons, but you know. He goes and he tries to be a rock star. He's a failed rock star, but he didn't even try that long. You know, it wasn't like he just saw that okay, he had this system set up where he had all of these women and girls, and he had guys. So the guys were kind of getting money, you know, and robbing stuff, and the girls were providing sex and you know they
going through dumpsters for food,
food for him, exactly. So he had that whole setup, and you know, they talk about how charismatic he was, but I think they all saw this like carrot at the end, which was this. We're going to be hanging out with this rock star, you know, and when it doesn't happen, just because he you know, Terry Melcher didn't call him back. Then he gets upset about that.
Isn't he bad though? Also, like I remember there was an album going around, and I haven't gotten to listen to it. But
He's
it's not very good,
okay.
right?
I don't think he's bad. All right, there's a couple Manson songs that are jams. Okay.
Okay.
I gotta say, but
Go ahead.
I mean, could he sing? He was a good singer. Was he a good guitar player? Absolutely not. He was not a good guitar
It's
player.
kind of like Laurel Canyon type stuff, like Joan Baez. It was kind of like folksy, rocky, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
And the Beach Boys did steal one of his songs.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They completely changed it.
They changed it, but it's just like they stole the song.
He was not happy.
And yeah, but you don't do what
If you're going to be a rock star, though, and this is, I mean, I sort of get it on that thing. Like, why do most high school kids want to be rock stars? You want, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll, money, fame, all that kind of stuff. And if you've got a bevy of women attending to your whims, and you've got dudes bringing you in money and stuff, it's sort of like, well, you know, I kind of skipped that one step, but I've got the same result.
What he should have done is he should have started doing live shows, because he would be able to bring all of his fans, and it would have been what they called back then a happening.
It really-
It was
wrong.
He was all
To be famous in LA, you did it wrong.
I like how this turned into like how Charles Manson could have become a rock star, and all of this could have been avoided. But
you know.
even in the studio, you know, he even Dennis Wilson got him in the studio even after Terry Melcher was like, I don't want to have anything to do with this dude. Dennis Wilson still, for some reason, felt responsible for helping him out. He gets him in the studio, and literally he can't take any constructive criticism, right? So the guy who's recording him is like, oh, can you do it this way? And he's like, what do you mean do it this way? It's my song.
Yeah.
This is the way I want to do it. You know, and the guy, I think at one point he pulled out a gun when he was in the studio, and
It's
he
a
was
rookie
like,
mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
don't
come
wanna-
on.
You're not Phil
don't pull out a gun on your recording engineer
It's insane.
until you've gone platinum. Did you, on this, while you were out here, did you have a particular, like a guide, or were you using online stuff, or you were just going around searching stuff for yourself?
Just look, you know, there's the internet's amazing. The internet's amazing.
Absolutely.
The
But
internet
LA is hard to navigate sometimes. So I'm impressed that you were able to find some of these spots.
Well, you could have gone out with one of our future guests, Scott Michaels,
I go on.
who does the
Go on.
The Dearly Departed tours. That's
tours.
right.
He will
Yes.
be on
There's
the show next week.
Yeah, Sophie was telling
2
me.
2 weeks.
that.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
So
Are you familiar with this guy?
No, it was, Sophie was telling me a little bit about it before, and I was like, that's so interesting. I wish I'd known that, because we leave tomorrow. But
oh,
you know,
really?
Yeah,
Oh, you
we
should
gotta
have
come
told
back.
me that that's what you're doing. I would have.
We have to come back for sure.
So much
Yeah.
here.
No, there's so
I
much here.
know,
it's
it makes me
there's-
so mad.
When you think about crime locations, you know, you can go to the Biltmore Hotel, which is one of the last places that Black Dahlia was seen, Elizabeth Short.
Right.
You can go, and it's still, I mean, that's one of the things where it still looks the same. You know, a lot of things have been torn down or rebuilt or whatever. I mean, where Robert Kennedy was shot, they tore that whole thing down. And they were supposed to leave the pantry, and then they tore it down like by accident. You know, and LA likes to just reinvent itself, unfortunately. But
we're going through a little period of nostalgia right now, and not the least of which is actually Quentin Tarantino's movie. But some of the vintage stuff is, especially, I don't know how long Dearly Departed Tours is, but for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we've got, I think he runs at least two, and there's other companies too. But basically, they have an entire true crime tour that you can take around LA. You can see where you know, Fatty Arbuckle did the murder.
that was in San Francisco.
Oh well, fine. Pardon my details on that, but
you were there. You were alive.
Particular LA, Los Angeles-based crimes. You can go around and find all these spots, and
you can
give
get
some new
Bugsy
shit and all that kind of
Siegel,
stuff.
and you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, and you know, even. You know, what I think is, I talk about this in my book, it's like you see one of the most iconic buildings in television history, which is the City Hall, and which doubled as Dragnet,
right.
And also was the Daily Planet in the Superman show. So, you've just got there's there are a lot of like cool little nooks and crannies, particularly downtown, because downtown everybody fled from it, so they didn't tear down any of that stuff.
It was preserved pretty well.
So it's really preserved. It's all these old movie theaters that have been turned into churches or.
I mean, there's even places in downtown where it's still kind of almost spooky because there's old storefronts that have been around there since the 1910s and 20s that are just vacant now and sort of dilapidated. No, I shouldn't say dilapidated. There's nothing going on in those particular neighborhoods.
Crazy, yeah.
But the Spahn Ranch. For those of us geographically challenged, that's sort of it's on the way to Death Valley, or is it in Death Valley?
No. That was
their second location.
That was their second location. So what they did was they were in Spahn Ranch, which is closer to here. It's just right up. I guess I don't know how you would go up to 405.
It's real close. It's in Topanga Canyon, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's in a different direction than I'm thinking of. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the Death Valley is where they went. After that,
with
that's where they had with their dune buggies, and
which is the one where
that's where they had to find the hole in the ground that would lead them to the place where they would get fairy wings. The bottomless pit. They were going to have fairy wings.
That's where they were going to go for the race war,
so they could stay in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Which is the one though that they found human remains, or they thought that one of the guys was buried in and might have found teeth.
Donald Shorty Shea. I think they might have. That was at Spahn.
That was Spahn.
I don't know if they found his remains or not. Did they?
They didn't find his remains. I think what happened was they had witnesses who said that they'd seen him get in a car with Manson and a couple of the other guys, and then heard screaming reverberating through the canyon. And then they just kind of assumed. I don't know. Did they find remains?
Although, you think about it, I mean, between coyotes and all sorts of other things, you could lose a body pretty much anywhere in California outside of Los Angeles. But Spahn Ranch was an actual ranch, and it had a rundown house on it that was gifted or loaned to Charles Manson and his people.
Set. It was like a movie set, and then George Spahn owned it. And George Spahn was hooking up with Squeaky Lynette.
Squeaky Fromm.
So Manson,
that's how he gave Squeaky her nickname, and it was because he would pinch her behind. And she would squeak. And that's how she got the name Squeaky Fromm.
That's adorable. So that's such a love story.
In addition to, isn't she also the one that
tried to kill Ford?
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
and she was upset because the gun didn't.
What a time! What a time to be alive. But so she's responsible for them squatting on there.
So basically, Manson was like, "Hey, you can hang out with my girls, and we're just going to hang out here, and we're not going to." And they did some things around the ranch to help out. But,
I think they did horse tours too, I think, or something.
But then the bikers started showing up, and then the ranch hands told George, you should get him off of here. And that's when Manson got really paranoid, thinking that I think Shorty was a ranch hand that was telling George Spahn, get these kids off of here because the long hairs are causing problems. And then Manson was like, nope.
Yeah, they recreated the ranch in the movie, and it's so great what Tarantino does, because it's like it's a fake movie ranch, but then there's these real stakes that happen in the scene that he does, and it's a really long scene, and it feels slow, but he really makes it tense, and he shoots it like a Western, and it's really cool. You got to see the movie.
You know what? I actually went a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I never see movies in theaters anymore. It's just too much of a hassle. And I got sidetracked and never actually showed up. Well,
so
the first thing was
I
was driving. I drove over to Universal City here, and it was $20 just to park to get in the thing.
You get $10 back.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to another place.
Sidetracked, or were you?
I went to drive to another place in North Hollywood, and then I was like, I'm just going to get some food and forget it. This is not worth it. I'm not a big fan of Universal City anyway. I don't like all those corporate joints, but that's me. The movie, though, I can't wait.
Bubblegum Shrimp.
Oh, how dare you, sir? How dare you? That is fighting words.
Called you out.
That's the worst thing.
Little trivia.
This is where Mick Malveau's brother works. So, did you get any footage? Did you record video and stuff and do a kind of walking tour?
I got some footage of me, crawling over logs to get to this place, which was really, that's something to see, because I don't hike at all. I don't.
Yeah.
Were you warned? You didn't.
I had no idea. I had no idea what I was in for.
Flats or,
no. I always wear combat boots every day.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter what day it is.
Right on. You're ready for life.
Dress, combat boots, jeans, combat boots, combat boots. So I was kind of prepared without even knowing I was prepared. Now my husband had like Sperry's on, so
really?
I kept saying, I think there's going to be poisonous snakes, and he's like, you know what? That's messed up because you have boots on, and I'm wearing like boat shoes.
Yeah,
So
boat shoes are good.
it was awesome though, and I mean, my husband's not the kind of like I'm this person where I'm like, oh, I feel the energy here, or this feels creepy, and he's so not superstitious at all. He doesn't believe in ghosts, any of that. But we walked up to the cave, and he was like, there's some serious energy I just walked into, and he's like, and I don't even believe in that stuff,
wow.
so that's serious. It was definitely it was a crazy experience. I'm glad I got to do it. And we drove up the coast. It's pretty driving by Malibu and Santa Monica.
Well, you got here in the right time of year too. You just beat the bad heat, and it's before the fall, so things are still sort of green and
yeah,
you get
it's
the scenic
beautiful.
thing. People come out and visit Los Angeles. It's wonderful.
And Spahn Ranch, by the way, it's actually in the Simi Hills and Santa Susana Mountains above
Ooh, that's
Chatsworth,
some good wine
California.
over there.
That's up a little farther north.
The land is now part of the Santa Susana Pass State Historic Park.
So if you're driving north, you're going to pass right by that.
Yes.
You want to park at the church across the street, but don't let anybody see you doing it, okay? Keep it on the down
Is
low.
it marked? Like, do they for
No.
tourists like yourself, people that are doing
no
that
sign
thing?
that says.
Are
They used to have this old.
Is it intentional? Like, they trying to?
They don't
let
want.
this
No, they
die?
don't like it.
I don't think they like people going
They
there. Locals
weren't
don't care
happy. I don't know if they filmed, if they built the new set there, or if they built it at one of the other ones. But they were not. Wherever they built the set for the movie, the people around there I heard weren't happy. So yeah, nobody wants.
Well, it still beats a strip mall in my mind, but that's me.
We saw a crack pipe out there. That's all I know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You see, you want to go and
That's awesome. And then I was
do
like,
some
now
drugs on the
then-
site where that happened.
I get wanting to do it. I understand. I just don't understand the actual follow through with doing it. I mean, it's something cool about being there in the area.
I guess I'm kind of
Maybe I'll
impressed
smoke
that
some
somebody.
weed or something, but
The weed is one thing. I'm impressed
yeah.
that somebody came out there just to I'm a crack user, but I'm still functioning enough to actually get 30 miles outside the city here and to go pay tribute like this. But
well, I posted about it on Twitter, and I guess so one of the people who follow me on Twitter said that she lives here, and when they used to skip school back in the day, that's where they would go and hang out and like drink beer.
okay.
And
Yeah,
yeah, there's
that makes
plenty
sense.
of beer cans around, so you can clearly see it's a hangout of some kind. But it's creepy because you go in the field where Spahn Ranch was, so it's like an empty field now, the place burned down. But then you have to hike down. You have to like go down this very treacherous thing, and then you kind of go through the woods, climb over some logs, and then you got to go up again, and then that's where the cave is. So it's literally nobody can see you. You can't see anybody.
Perfect.
Far away from
Perfect
the
for
road.
teens.
And I told my husband, I was like, this is literally somebody could kill you here, and nobody would really know until somebody happened to venture down here. But you can't hear us or see us from the road. There's nobody else around. It's just completely encased in trees. So it was definitely creepy. And I think, I got my footage. We got in the cave, and then I said, all right, let's go.
get out of here before sundown, right?
Before somebody comes here that I don't want to see.
When do you expect that this particular episode or this particular series of episodes
Well, the
will
Manson
air?
stuff is going to be in a vlog. So I do a vlog every month at the end of the month. So the Manson stuff will be in that. So it'll be my October vlog, post probably beginning of November, because I've already done all my Manson videos.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that'll probably go up first week in November.
Send that to us, and we will we'll link to that as well as the earlier stuff that you talk about, the 6-part Manson stuff. That's good stuff because there's a big audience out there for it. I don't know everything about it. Billy knows everything about it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would like to take a deep dive into this, particularly now that Quentin sort of shown a spotlight on the entire thing again.
Yeah.
Well, we could certainly make
And
that.
he did it also, I thought, in the best possible way, the way he handled it. So
I
There was
hear nothing but
another
good
movie
reviews.
that came out recently about Sharon Tate with Hillary Duff or something. It was supposed to be really terrible, right?
Was that a made-for-TV one, or was it in theaters?
I don't know.
I heard it was very disrespectful to her.
No, it wasn't good. And actually, he let Deborah Tate read the script first, and she gave it a blessing. The only thing they did is they changed it. The movie was actually going to come out on right at the anniversary, and they changed that.
40 years later, 40 years and change later, it's still on the top of mind here in American crime. So.
Yep. Well,
Check out Stephanie Harlowe's YouTube page and her assorted other social accounts here, which we will, of course, have ready for you in the comments. Stephanie, thanks again for being the
you,
guest,
guys.
and thanks
Thank
for doing
you
this
for
with
having
Extra
me.
for us.